Beckman Unleashed podcast number 60.
60. We are live.
We're back. It's been a while.
Can you believe it?
Someone said in the comments that it had been 4 weeks. I think it's been 3 weeks.
I couldn't tell you. I have
Under
no
Duress
idea.
said it's been a month. And I'm like, I think it's been 3 weeks. But doesn't matter. We are back.
Yeah. I feel like around the 16th was the last time. So that might have been more than a month.
Oh, I don't know. All right.
Let's not talk
more
about
than
it.
a month. Sorry, guys. We abandoned you. All right.
Why did we abandon them?
Because you were out of town.
And we've been busy with
and
the
we've been
Beckman
busy
Pro.
with aggression and BCP and the programs that we're going to launch. That's part of it. Yes. A lot of reasons. So I've been thinking about what's in the news, what this podcast is going to be about. And there's no dogs. This is still a dog training podcast for the most part, but we go into other areas. If you've never been here, we're going to get into a lot of subjects. But the thing that has been interesting me about dogs is Dave Portnoy and Miss Peaches, and she has finally got some training. So here's the deal. Dave Portnoy is the president of Barstool Sports. His dog that he rescued from a hoarder, she's like a pit bull mix looking dog, and she's kind of a unique dog. She's got some weird quirks. She's an odd dog, but a sweet dog. And he is an interesting guy because he doesn't like kids, but he loves this dog. And he basically is documented getting her, and people fall in love with her. She's got probably millions of Instagram and TikTok followers at this point. She's a big star. Well, she started to try to escape from his house. And I'm watching this going, he's going to need training real soon. And so I commented on one of his things. I was like, hey, if you ever need any help, let me know. Or I said, give me a call or something. But I wasn't really looking to go out there. But then I was like, okay, he's going to need training. Sure enough, I just saw an Instagram post today, Tom Davis to train Miss Peaches. And he's posting videos with Miss Peaches. And I'm like, how do I feel about this? And I like it. I like Tom Davis. From what I have seen, he's a good trainer. I think I could be wrong because all I've seen is social media stuff and her trying to escape, and she'll kind of sit there and not want to move, which actually isn't that hard. But when you have a dog like her, it can be a challenge because you're not just dealing with normal behavior. You're dealing with a quirkiness and a personality trait from trauma or neglect or the hoarding situation. So you're fighting against sort of not just behavior, but past behavior and trauma and stuff, which can be hard to get over. But I think that he's the right trainer for her.
I think he's also an East Coast guy too, right?
He's a New York guy, easy to get to the Hamptons. Probably the right call for Dave Portnoy to do that.
Bro, you don't have time to be helping all these people.
I thought about that. I was like, what if he called and was like, hey, I want you to train Miss Peaches. He lives in Miami and the Hamptons. And I was like, he's got a lot of money, but I don't know if he'd want to spend the type of money. I have 3 kids.
You're not working for free.
Yeah, the opposite of free. To fly to New York to live with somebody and train their dog would be unbelievable. Just my life. 3 kids. They're doing sports. Young. I have a 7-year-old up to a 14-year-old. They need me around. It'd be.
Yeah, you got a
lot.
Beckman coaching program. Beckman Aggression's coming out. Beckman coaching program, best coaching program in the world, and takes a ton of your time. Students need you.
Yeah,
always got new stuff going on there, right?
Yeah,
you don't have time to be just disappearing for 2 to 4 weeks at a time.
I know it would be content. That would be cool. We got a call from somebody who's helps out. She works for wealthy people and does things for them. I've dealt with these people a lot. I have a lot of wealthy clients. And this lady we know, she calls us, she says, hey, I won't say the company that the lady owns, but she says she has an aggressive dog. She wants you, Joel, or one of your staff to come live at her house for 2 weeks and help her aggressive dog. And then she says, money is no object, or some, what's
price,
the other?
think,
name
right?
your price.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, everyone says name your price until they get the price.
Yeah.
These people didn't get rich for throwing not it's throwing money away, but if they think it's throwing your money away, they don't just go, yes, here's all the money you want. They don't do that. But it would
knock their socks off.
yeah. And so I'm like, I've got to talk to the lady. And a lot of these really rich folks, they have these people to deal with it. So they go, no, you deal with the trainer. Just tell me when he's going to be here. Tell me how much it's going to be. And I go, no. I'm not dealing with the intermediary. I need to talk to the owner. Yeah, but she's busy. She wants me to do it. I get it, but I don't care because I need to talk to her for so many reasons. One, I can just, bro, I show up to houses or people come to me, and if they don't know who I am, they're like tripped out by me. I come on really strong and really like, here's what we're going to do. And they get weirded out. Some people came out to me who had not seen a YouTube video. They just showed up. They signed up and showed up. And it used to happen all the time before I was on YouTube, but I've gotten worse or better, however you want to look at it. And they were sitting there and I'm talking to them and I realize I'm like this. And they're sitting there like, who the F is this guy? And I'm like coming on strong. And I realize that I'm just like I'm not overpowering them.
That's what they're paying for, bro.
But I'm like, here's what we're going to do. Like, I don't say this, but like, I care what you want to do. But if the person doesn't know what they're doing, like I'm telling you what to do. We're doing this how I want to do this.
Yeah, you're a trainer, man. You go in there and you train. You don't go in there and consult.
Yeah.
You're not a dog consultant, you're a dog trainer.
Yeah.
And you're a people trainer.
Yeah. So I needed to talk to the lady.
It's kind of like Commander, right? And Biden's other dogs, right? Where you need to talk to the owners of the dog, not like some random handler who got bit 14 times, right?
Yeah.
You need to immerse yourself, which is a step in the right direction with fixing a dog, right? Is to actually get in there and see how it's dealing, right? So there's an advantage to you going to someone's house for 2 weeks. The disadvantage is that you actually have a life in multiple businesses.
Yeah.
And you don't want to totally sell your soul for money, do you?
No, I don't want to go stay. I have 3 kids and like, I like being with my kids very much.
Really?
Do you know the price for me to be like, okay, you can't father your children for 2 weeks? That'd be like when they're
coach their games, right?
You can't coach their games. You can't watch them surf. Just that. Forget everything else that I'm missing. Would be like,
this guy doesn't have a dog, but he loves the content.
Thank you,
Nate.
$2. YouTube, take $1 of that, please, because you have earned that. YouTube.
They will actually take one.
In no way in particular have you earned that money, really. Maybe you have.
They built the platform.
They did. They did done a good job.
It's just weird that they have a payout and then they're like, but this we just take half.
Yeah, it seems like straight cash they shouldn't take half of. Just seems odd to me. I get taking, we put the ads up and then we take money from that. Great, you got to make money. But just straight cash?
Did you know that we have our ad set on conservative? Did you know that?
I think
there's conservative, balanced, and aggressive.
Yeah.
And we put them on conservative because we'd rather make less money, have a more enjoyable show.
YouTube use dog training terms for their ads. Balanced, aggressive.
Yeah. That's interesting, huh? Aggression's quite the thing, huh?
Yeah. So here, one more point that I wanted to say. Dave Portnoy did what Joe Biden should have done.
Yeah.
Remember we were like
gnarly professional help.
He got a good professional that remember when we talked about Joe Biden's dog biting 20 people and we're like, they need to get on YouTube. They need to find the person, watch a bunch of videos, go, why YouTube? Why not TikTok? Because it's long form. Well, TikTok's kind of long form. But then go through and vet these trainers, then maybe interview the trainers, then have one out. We heard nothing about Joe Biden's dog. Dave Portnoy's like, hey, I got one of the top trainers in the country for my dog.
Yeah.
That's the difference between maybe government and non-government.
He also made I think he also falls into the trap of just being like head over heels in love with his dog. So he doesn't, he's going to allow it to do whatever.
He probably doesn't hate his, Joe Biden might dislike Commander for all we know.
I mean, how can the president be super engaged with a dog? It just seems like, can you be? I mean, you're engaged with your dog because you work with your dog every day. But like, if you if you were doing something outside the scope of dog training, would you really just be like, okay, Princey, come here, like let's go spend an hour a day together?
Say that again. I was looking at Scott saying I should charge $5 million for my.
He's right. No, I was just saying, like,
sorry.
if you didn't do something, if you were doing work outside the scope of dog training, you might not be spending like over an hour a day with Prince, just relationship building.
Would not be. Oh, no, not in like, well, no, because I have 3 kids. And
he would be falling further down the, you know,
I spend more time with him.
Exactly.
Because of this. Yeah. But Dave Portnoy did the right thing. He did exactly what we said Joe Biden should do to find high-level dog training help. Dave Portnoy did it. He did the exact move.
Yeah.
The guy's living in his house, I think, or maybe a hotel, but it's the exact right move, man. And that's the difference between like a smart businessman and a smart, probably money-savvy guy who wants to do the job and do it right, and somebody who's doesn't care or doesn't have time. I don't know. Like Joe Biden.
Yeah, no, and I mean, we did the 2 podcasts on Joe Biden. That was quite the lightning rod of episodes, but it was that he had bit and then he bit again. But now I think
every other dog would have been put down.
Yeah,
but this guy's dog gets to bite 20 people.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
It's just crazy.
Yeah,
yeah, and Trump got shot. That happened. Yeah, you didn't know?
No, I was actually in Hawaii, and buddy texted me. They took a shot at Donnie. I was like, wait, what? What's going on? And then and he's like, go look on the news. And I started looking on the news. And I was like, oh my goodness. Because I mean, I try to unplug, you know me, right? I try to, I don't want to watch the news anyways. And so I try not to get too wrapped up in things I have no control over. But then, you know, I like to do a fair amount of shooting, right? I don't I don't shoot people, but like, you know, I do like to do my fair share of shooting. And when I saw that it hit his ear, I was thinking,
it's crazy,
dude, you're this close from like the most ridiculous thing on national television, like in a completely different world that we would live in.
Yeah. That I don't think I think 40% of the population knows what would have actually happened. I don't think
talk about this stuff, dude.
I don't think most of the population knows what would have actually happened. I think that a lot of the population thinks it would have been kind of bad, and there's some people who know what would have no one wants what would have happened.
Well, I don't support that type of assassination stuff. So I'm glad everyone is safe. And
of course,
you know, that's just pretty crazy.
Yeah. It would have been bad.
Yeah.
I don't think people know. No, they don't know.
This is trouble.
Everyone should be very thankful. Here's my comments on not that, on something. If you don't think that it is the story, and I think people know this, especially the viewers of this channel, because we're a bit of a conspiracy theorist group. Remember I said I didn't know if stars were real. What else? We could have a montage of conspiracy theories on here.
So that's someone do it with AI.
Stars weren't real.
Yeah.
To me,
the Earth was flat. Maybe.
There's many on this podcast, but it's a tale as old as time that kings or empires or government officials will take out somebody. Right? This happens. If you don't think this happens, you're crazy. It happens. It's happened all through time. It continues to happen. That's a possibility. We all know that's a possibility. Okay. The other possibility is that there is no system, the Secret Service included, that runs perfectly. Like, it could absolutely positively be human error or errors in the system. Oh, how could they let that happen? Because it's run by human beings. That's how this could happen. Could the Secret Service let this happen? Absolutely.
It's kind of like anything.
On purpose or not on forget on purpose. Not on purpose. They absolutely could have let this happen.
But they could have, but also like
they totally could.
If somebody is safe every day and no one ever tries to go after somebody, right? Like if it keeps happening 365 days a year, nothing happens.
That's exactly
you
right.
start to get like, this is actually not like, it becomes it's like a fire when there's actually a real fire. No one knows what to do because they never actually all the fire drills and so forth. I think this is funny. This person says registered Republican for 20 years, blah blah blah. He says he was unwell and he shouldn't have had access to an assault rifle. R.I.P. the firefighter. I do agree for sure with the firefighter. That was very tragic that someone lost their life as a result of this. The other piece of it is that he shouldn't have access to assault rifle. If he's mentally ill, there should probably be something to prevent mentally ill people from doing that. The other side of it, though, is that an assault rifle is actually a terrible sniping weapon. So bolt action rifle would not have been a problem, and he didn't use that. So everyone's probably better off as a result. So that's what I think about Evoxy.
Yeah. So you were saying that when it had been 40 years, I'm going to tell you a story to bring you back to animal training.
What did I say about 40 years?
It had been a long time since this had happened. So you're saying everyone gets lulled into, right? Weren't you saying that? People get
just that, like even if it's not 40 years, even if it's 3 years where no one tries to take someone out, then you start thinking it's something we're supposed to do, but it never really happens.
That's exactly right. And then you miss things like buildings. Like it has been 40 years. My friend Dawn, a killer whale killed me and my wife's friend and all of our friends in the industry and at SeaWorld. And she was a very loved person. That killer whale hadn't killed somebody in 20 years, 25 years, maybe 20 years. Oh, yeah. He'd killed someone. Then a guy jumped in his pool and he had swim around all night with the body on his back. Who knows what happened or how that guy died. The story is he jumped into Tillicum's pool in the middle of the night. 15 years later. So when I worked there, the rules were set up where no trainer could be in this certain area with Tillicum. When Dawn died, the rules were different than 3 years before. Mm-hmm. So why? Because we said, well, he hasn't killed anybody in 10 years, and then it was 15 years. And then
yet, right?
Yeah, it's like it hasn't happened. And we were going to relax the rules. Everyone relaxes because it hasn't happened. Then it happened. And everyone went, oh yeah, like no rules should have been relaxed. They were relaxed because Dawn followed the rules 100% of the time. Everyone followed the rules with that particular whale. So I know the rules had been relaxed. And that's what happens.
That's a problem with rules though, right? Is it's like you have to have, people need to fully believe in the rules, right? Like, why am I following all these rules, right? If you don't know why you're following them, and it's, I think it, especially as a father, like when you try to teach your kids why, like crossing the street is a good example, like especially with little kids, like, hey, like you stop, like, hey, look both ways. Like, are you seeing a car here, right? Like they don't understand that like going out in the street is as much danger as an adult understands.
Yeah.
Right. So it's there are rules. So hopefully you can get to a place with your kids, with your dog, whatever, where like they understand that when dad or the coach or the trainer or whatever is telling them something, they just have that faith that like, he's looking out for me. He's 20, 30 years older than me.
Yeah.
He probably knows what he's talking about. But of course it seems with kids and other people, it's the opposite. Like, you have to be proven to be right over and over before they listen to you.
You do, especially with kids.
Yeah. They're going to be like, my dad is always wrong. And as he's proven right every time, I'll give him a tiny bit more credit.
Yeah. Exactly.
And as they get in the teens,
it's
crazy. More like that, right?
It is crazy how they think like that. It's crazy.
How dare you, CLO? How dare you say this? Those female agents were so poorly prepared and untrained. It was an embarrassment, in my opinion. DEI needs to go. That doesn't sound like a very politically correct statement.
That is the opposite of politically correct and 100% true. Just 100%. It's such a joke, dude. Dude, the lady, the Secret Service, head of Secret Service is like she actually said something about a sloped roof that they didn't put someone up there because of a sloped roof.
Yeah.
So which is the craziest thing I've ever heard. I can't even believe she said it. You don't say that. You keep your mouth shut. You don't say that. Dude, you're a guy that's kind of, up there in management and stuff. Like, I don't understand the head of Secret Service in any way, like the sloped roof thing. Like, no, I don't understand anything that's going on.
These people are, you have like SEAL Team 6, like in a helicopter rappelling down to Osama bin Laden's, you know, supposed, living area or whatever, and going in there and ransacking it. And like, you're telling me they can't get on a sloped roof, and it wasn't even sloped, right? So this is madness.
So weird.
It's not
No,
true.
oh,
It's
here's
just an excuse. Like something blew up, and it's never popular to say, yeah, I screwed up. But ultimately, when you're the head of a department like that, no one cares what your excuse is. Like, there is no excuse, like, especially when something like that happens.
Yeah.
I see Off-Grid Dogs, our good friend. He says 130 yards with an AR works just fine. I agree. It's not an optimal weapon for that, but
why wouldn't she
I'll debate him
resign
later.
immediately? I would be so embarrassed. I would just now there might
'Cause
be
she has
something
no
like
benefit
I
to
have to
resign.
I have embarrassment.
I mean, she's already embarrassed, right? So it's like, what does she do?
Maybe there's something like I have to see the investigation through. I'm going to wait till I do the Senate hearing or the House hearing or something. I would be so embarrassed. I would resign. I feel like the next day.
Yeah, but when you're what's she
feel
gonna
like
do next though? You know, like she needs another job.
I know, but
know?
like she waited 2 weeks and then resigned. Did
Yeah.
she think it was gonna go different?
I don't know enough about the background of this stuff, but
Yeah.
I would have always assumed that the Secret Service was like the most elite, not the most elite, because it's not like more than Navy SEALs or something, but I always had an impression that was just like the most elite unit. And then they show the part where it looks like she's fumbling to get her
Yeah.
gun into the holster and stuff, which you
I
think
know.
would be. But we've been critical of. I mean, I think we love many law enforcement people. You like to argue with cops here and there, but like we generally are supportive of law enforcement. But like there is that effort of like making sure you can handle your weapon, and like you're trained, and a lot of cops will actually train with their own money, right? They'll fire rounds at the range out of their own dollar, right? Just so that they can get better with their weapon, because they know it's super important that they're as good as they can be, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it didn't look good from what I saw. And then, I saw there's all kinds of conspiracy theories, and we would never go into conspiracy theories on this channel. Ever.
Yeah. It was probably the craziest maybe thing I've ever seen on TV in my lifetime. I'm 48.
Yeah. So rather, it says Biden should have fired her. I think Biden ended up getting fired over it.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone got fired. Yeah. It was probably the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Can you tell these people about BCP real quick? Because I don't want to lose sight of BCP.
Beckman Coaching Program. I did a live with him yesterday. It was great. I do weekly lives. They get videos every week. I did the last round of videos was from a session. I did the full session. I did a video. So I did basically an hour and a half session, the YouTube video that I did. I don't usually do that.
It was the Menace to Society video,
Menace
right?
to Society video. And I did basically a split screen, and I talked through the whole video. I broke it up into 5 or 6 videos and just talked through every aspect of that private session. I give them videos every week, and then they have a community section. Well, it was a good session. There's a lot of nuance to these sessions. So I try to, and like what they can learn from, with the dog and with the client and the interaction. And it just, there's a lot to unpack in these sessions, and why I do what I do. And that's what I did, and why the dog does what he does, and how you do the whole situation. And then we talked about on the live, we talked about dog training classes.
What I like about it, and obviously, I have a conflict of interest here, but
vested interest.
Yeah, but what I really like about it is there's 2 fronts that we're trying to win on, right? Is to create the next generation of dog trainers, right? Which I believe this program is doing. The people that are in Beckman Coaching, Beckman Essentials are badass trainers, right? And they're getting better. And we're getting people that have 10 plus years of experience that want to learn from you still, which I think is quite the feather in your cap. The other piece, right, is not everyone who listens to this podcast wants to be a professional dog trainer. That's just the reality, right? But they still have problems with their dog, and they need it fixed. And so the idea would be, let's create something for everyone, some type of sit and stay. But that's not really you, dude. Like, people come to you mostly for the harder cases, the aggression, reactivity, right? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like you don't seem to get the poodle that just like, you know what I mean? That's having trouble with
Well,
recall.
I did a session today, and the session was a lot of things. And then it was treats from the scary stimulus and out of the circle of trust, both of which I coined both those terms. I didn't invent the concepts around scary things, feeding treats to fearful animals. Didn't invent that. But I think I did sort of bundle that and say, this is when you do it. How about out of the circle of trust as the punishment? A non-painful punishment for an incorrect behavior is removal from the powerful owner, when to do it, how to do it, and then put that out into the world with in as high a degree and when to do it. I think I'm the one who came up with those in a way and packaged it, and am now saying, do it here, don't do it here.
But there's so much value in that, because people will always say, people say this to us all the time. They go, well, why would somebody do that? You already have 500, 600 videos. I actually talked to my Muay Thai coach.
Why would someone do the program?
Yeah. They go, why would somebody, and this is what he said. He goes, why? Because I was like, you should put all of your Muay Thai stuff, because he's like world-class guy. Why would you, you should put all your teaching on the internet, and like, and do a course. And he goes, all that stuff's already on YouTube and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, well, the specific, like every little movement is on YouTube, but how does somebody who's brand new to it know, like, how do you separate the wheat from the chaff, right? Like, how do you know what I should be doing first and second? And then like, what are the things that science has taught us from different, like Skinner and all that stuff? Like, when do I know when to pay attention to this stuff? And so that's where you have that coach that comes in and be like, don't worry about that. Like, you need to get your hands on more dogs. You need to be doing this stuff. So like it's not about just obtaining all the information on the internet. You have to know what is right and what is wrong, and also what order. You shouldn't be learning these super complicated things in your first month when you don't even know about like the basic theory of dog training.
Yeah.
Right. So you're like right. You're putting it in your best order that you could, as far as what would go where. Right.
Yeah. If you take like Prince for an example, on YouTube, people want to see two things, really. I mean, in the context of learning on my channel, they really want to see two things: Prince correct a dog and me interact with owners. That's essentially what gets views on YouTube, because we know there's bumps in the, in the video of what people watch. Mm-hmm. It shows us, and the back end shows us. That's really what they want to see. You're not going to learn how to build a helper dog by watching my YouTube videos.
Yeah.
You're just not. You're going to see Prince do his thing, and it's going to be interesting, but you don't know how to make a Prince. Well, you have no idea.
That's actually where it gets into the aggression piece too, which is like, well, can't I just go watch Joel's videos? Well, you can, but it's like, are you going to watch? Is everyone just going to randomly watch 600 videos? Yeah. Like, I wouldn't even want to start watching all the videos again. We've already seen them. Like, it would be a lot of work, and I don't know how much time that is, but it's hundreds of hours of content, right? So then with the aggression piece, which we have not launched yet, but which we will, is like, what does somebody who has a dog that either bites people or could bite people, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe
dogs.
Other dogs.
Not maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, bites dogs, could bite a dog. Like, you think, hey, this dog hasn't bit anyone, but it's going to, right? Whatever that is. And then getting something, and the difference between us and I think everyone else is someone else wants to throw like a little DVD package of like, here's 4 15-minute videos that'll solve all your problems with aggression. And I think you believe, and I believe, that like, it isn't going to do it with some of these dogs. Like, you need some like deep intervention to take a traumatized pit bull and get it with crazy aggression problems and turn that thing around.
You're not going to become a dog trainer that is going to pay your mortgage, be able to buy a bigger house, help dogs, go on have enough money to go on vacation, many other ways, except getting your hands on a lot of dogs and doing it organically, and maybe taking programs, or do that and then also sign up for BCP. Like, it's so complex and so deep. And I'm not just saying be an okay dog trainer. You can go be an okay dog trainer probably pretty soon. You want to be a good dog trainer, that's different. And you're not going to be able to solve your dog's aggression issues without a month-to-month thing that includes videos, a community section, and lives with me or some other person who does this. It's very complex. It's multifaceted. You need help from people. You need a lot of things.
One thing that's nice about the lives too, not just your lives, every live, like in general, is like taking somebody who's an expert who's crossed that 10,000 hour barrier of like
Yeah.
becoming a master in some sense, right? Listening to them just talk for an hour, like just go off, right? You're like, if you really care about that skill set, whatever that is, whether it's dog training or martial arts, whatever it is, like if you really cared, you'd be just soaking up that stuff like a sponge. Like here's an expert, and like, you know how like it's like the master teaches like, oh, well, why is he talking? You know, why is Mr. Miyagi making me wax the floor, or, or like paint the
Yeah.
fence, right? And then of course, it's a little bit goofy, but then they realize like, oh, like he's not only teaching him the different movements, but he's also trying to toughen Daniel LaRusso up because he's
Yeah.
just kind of a kid that has no work ethic, and he's gonna just
Yeah.
he's just gonna make him tough.
Yeah, bro. Everything good in my life that I look back on, not in my life, but in my professional life, what I did not want to do.
Yeah.
Bro, I got started at SeaWorld and it went so slow. And you're like cleaning and doing fish house every morning. And like
What's Fish House?
you show up in Orlando, you show up at 6 a.m. and San Diego, show up at 7 a.m. and you have all these frozen boxes of fish and you thaw them and then you put them in buckets for the whales. Then you put them in the fridge and you just do that. And then you just clean all day and watch shows. And then, okay, you're approved to go backstage in a show a month into it. Okay, another month you can talk the show, but you can't touch a whale. And then it's just the slowest process ever. And you're like, there's so much to learn. You kind of go, okay, I get why it's slow, but then sometimes you don't, and you're like, can I freaking hurry up and like actually do something? It's like, no, you're not ready.
You're a little
you might
dog.
die.
You're
Like
a little dog, right?
you're a little dog. And then even at Moore Park, so my school, my awesome school I went to, I remember we had to drive to the Santa Barbara Zoo or the LA Zoo and do a zoo day, which you follow around some cranky old zookeeper,
Nice.
and they don't want to have you there unless they're a dude and you're a hot girl from Moore Park, right? And so you're a dude, they don't want you there. You go with the male zookeeper, and they're like, "Why couldn't you have been one of the many girls at your school that thinks I'm cool?" And so you follow around the zookeeper all day. It's 90 degrees. It sucks. I went into to the school management or whatever, and I'm like, "Can we not do these zoo days? This is," and they're like, "No, you have to do them." I was like, I had an old car, and I was like, okay, fine. Now I look back on it, I would have never gotten with elephants, weren't it for those zoo days. I would have never gotten with giraffes. I would have never seen gorillas. Like I look back on it and I go, oh, they knew what they were doing. I just didn't.
Yeah. No, I mean, it seems like it's always like that put me in coach thing, right? Like people are like, hey, come on, like I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do this stuff. And it's like, no, you're really not. You don't know. And that's to me, it's all about the building of skill sets, right? From one thing to the other. And it is cool. Like the YouTube videos are very valuable for learning specific things, and especially through the Google algorithm, and just like, hey, I want to learn about recall, like, or you go Beckman recall and you can look at your recall videos and you can learn a lot from there. But like, if you get a new puppy, are you really going to be able to know what you should be doing with that puppy? You got some videos on it, but like,
Yeah.
you can't take everything you need to do with a puppy and put it in 10 minutes. It's just not. Things are too nuanced. Things are too complicated. And so that's what I love about the new world, is that like with these courses, and this is the last thing I'll say about the courses, is like, there's all kinds of weird courses that I take online that back in the day, they just weren't available. There was no way to really connect with somebody. You have to like meet them in person. Whereas now, like there's stuff like you want to learn about music, people learn how to play guitar, all that type of stuff. I just go in there. I'm like, all right, I want to learn how to play guitar, and I start going. So,
Bro, I don't still have an old car, Ryan. My car sounds like it's going to blow up. It has a clank in the engine that is so bad, and it's so embarrassing.
I try to buy it off you.
Bro, I didn't wear a hat or sunglasses, which I always wear a hat and sunglasses, and I got recognized twice yesterday. I've never been recognized two times.
You always wear a hat and sunglasses.
I always wear a hat.
Yeah. You wear sunglasses all the time.
And
too.
I wear sunglasses. And I realize it's like a mask. If I don't wear that, I'll get recognized a lot.
Protect you from the sun too.
Well, that's true too, because I got all these wrinkles.
You have more wrinkles when you.
But yeah, my
wrinkle up your face
car
like that.
is so old.
I told you I'd buy it.
I know. We've been thinking about that.
You're gonna wait till it blows up before you sell it to me, or what's the deal?
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody said in the comment section, they said, "Screw SeaWorld, you heathen."
Dude, I watched this guy and he goes, I was gonna play it. That's what I asked how we get TikTok up on here. And he's like some intellectual guy. I don't even know who he is. And he starts it off. It's like, how can I find this guy? He starts it off and he goes, first I want to say F SeaWorld. And then he goes, the killer whales, and he gives kind of these facts about killer whales and what SeaWorld says.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching it, and I'm not some SeaWorld apologist, but I'm watching it and I'm like, it's so lame to start. He's like an intellectual with that. What's that called when, like, with that statement? Like, I'm going to start this off by saying F SeaWorld.
It doesn't even make
just give the facts.
It's not an intellectual statement, right? It's like
it's a pandering.
And it's also, I know. It's like a woke statement, right? To
say
like, oh, like
let me
start by saying, and everyone claps. So against them, like.
Yeah.
I mean, so what's going on? SeaWorld's still around, right? I know I've asked this like
it's a
podcast.
Ride. It's becoming a ride park.
So there's no whales there, right? Is there any small marine life
There's whales there.
There is.
Yeah, they just don't swim with them, and it's a conservation show.
Okay.
If you find yourselves on a bandwagon, just like get off the bandwagon. Like if it's a hate SeaWorld thing, then just think for yourself and just go, do I really hate SeaWorld? And why do I hate SeaWorld?
Man, when I was a kid.
And was Blackfish true? Let me think about if that's true. Let me ask Joel. I like when people in the comments, they go, you worked at SeaWorld. They go, they say something and I'm like, actually, that's not true. And they're like, that's true. And I'm like, I worked there.
I literally was there.
Like, and I have no dog in the fight. Like, I'll tell you what's true and what's not true. I actually worked there.
You've been critical and not critical in different times where you're telling people what the deal is. You don't care.
I don't care. Dude, SeaWorld told me. So they would, I don't know if they ever told me, but the kind of the party line amongst the trainers was, oh, when a guest asks about the dorsal fin being bent over, you say, well, that happens in the wild. And I'm like, but it doesn't. But then I would be near a trainer and a guest would ask, and the trainer would go, oh, that happens in the wild. And I'd be like, I can't.
Story,
yeah, I'm like, I can't believe you're saying that.
Yeah, you're lying.
You're just lying.
Yeah,
because SeaWorld told you to say that. Like you're just lying to the guests. Have you never seen killer whales in the wild? Their dorsal's straight with a little bit of curvature in it. Then the whales at SeaWorld, they're like fully flopped over, and we're all, that's natural.
Maybe that's how they get around
gaslighting. That's gaslighting.
Yeah, they make you think you're crazy.
Yeah, you go, that's natural, and then they go, what? But I saw like many pods and videos, and they seem straight. And the SeaWorld trainer's like, no, it's not. It happens in the wild.
Well, we were talking about this earlier. How it was,
and I'm like, I'm not saying that.
Like, why are we talking to people like on the like? I mean, we love the pod, but beyond that, like people in the comment section that are saying all this like ridiculous stuff. Like every now you catch yourself and you start reading it, and you're like, who is this person? I have no idea. There's 7 billion people on the planet, and I'm like reading some random person's like hateful comment about how SeaWorld's horrible and Joel's terrible. It's like, what are you doing on the channel? I don't go on your guys' channel. I don't sit there and like go on people's channels I don't like and just sit there and like talk to them all day about how horrible they are.
Is there seriously, is there a single winner in the world? Like someone who is winning at life, who's in someone else's comments, like saying bad shit?
No, they're doing their own thing, bro.
They're like living their life doing so. If you're just talking shit on someone,
you just said it, and then now you're spelling it out.
Yeah, then you should seriously go. Well, what am I doing with my life?
All over 57. What a generous soul this is. $5 in the revenue bucket, $2.50 in the Google bucket.
Yeah.
Dog question. You've said before, some people cannot handle some types of dogs, like Cane Corsos. What are some ways people can tell if they can? We don't talk about dogs on this podcast.
No,
just kidding.
This is
you good on the question?
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a Cane Corso. I hate to say this a little bit, but like I think size matters.
Yeah.
Strength matters. You could be not big or strong, but do you know jujitsu? Like, do you understand leverage?
Can you do a pull up?
Do you have a full-time job that you have to go to? If you do, that's probably not a good situation. Um, do you have money? I mean, when you go out of town, can you board the dog at a good place? Can you train the dog?
Mhm.
Do you live close to a good trainer? Um, why are you getting the Cane Corso protection? Then I believe you get a pass. I've said that before. It's a crazy world out there. I think you get a little bit of a pass, but you still have to be able to afford some training. You have to be kind of strong. Have you ever stood up for yourself in your life? Because you might need to stand up for yourself to the dog. And if you've never practiced that, then if you've never told someone, go sit your ass down, um, or like there's people who have never had confrontations.
Remember what we were talking about
Ever.
about the Cane Corsos?
Well, your first time at a confrontation is going to be at 25 with your dog.
Yeah, it's not a good look. But remember when we were talking on one of the podcasts before about how like when that Cane Corso, Borbal, Prussia Canaria, whatever it is, right? When you are like fighting over the toy, maybe, and you have to make that decision. We've talked about
Yeah.
this. Like, am I willing to get bloody here? Like, am I willing to let this dog bite me and be like, I'm not gonna back down to you, dog?
Yeah.
Like, are you willing to do that? My other thing is like, what is your lean body mass, right? And then is that 80% of the dog's weight or more?
Wow, you have a system.
I'm just saying it. Like, what if you weigh, let's just say you
It's
weigh
not a bad
200
idea,
pounds,
actually.
right? And let's say your lean body mass is 175 pounds, right? You know, you should be able to get a dog that weighs 175 pounds. If you weigh 100 pounds, right, and
50.
your lean body mass is 75 pounds, should you get a dog that weighs 150? Now, can it be done? Of course. But just because Liz, your wife, who's trained dogs her whole life, could, train a dogo easily with a dog that weighs far more than she does, most people are not your wife.
Yeah.
And most people don't run a boarding facility, and most people didn't work at SeaWorld.
Yeah. Yeah.
You like that one, huh?
Yeah, no, I like anything that simplifies a complex problem.
I mean, you don't want to be outweighed by your dog, probably.
You probably have no shot, dude. If I had 160-pound dog, I mean, I could probably do it, but like, yeah, you can't be outweighed by your dog, and your dog should probably be half your weight. Is that good?
It's a good guideline, right? Because even like, say you weigh 170 pounds, an 85-pound pit bull is a problem, or any type of variation of a pit bull. Like, they're going to kick your butt probably at 85 pounds.
Yeah.
Right. So that's
true.
where
half. I'd say half.
Yeah, half.
Just to start somewhere.
Half. You have a chance, maybe. Right?
Yeah.
Like wild animals, you have no chance at that same weight, right?
Yeah.
But so. Yeah, I mean, I think the question really is all about like use cases. What's your use case for the dog? What's your purpose for getting them? Like, is it a bird hunting dog? No. Like, is it just a dog to sit in your house? Okay, well then why are you getting a Borbal?
Yeah.
Why are you getting the top 0.1% most badass dog in the country or world?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem very, like a good decision. So I think, as a layman, you shouldn't be, you should think about your motives of why you're getting the dog that you have, just like the reason why you get a car that you get, right? Why are you getting the brand new BMW?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you getting the Lamborghini when you have 5 kids?
Yeah.
Doesn't fit.
We were talking about cars, my wife and I, and
you should, because you need to get a new one.
Yeah. We tried test drove a couple, but I know this is extreme, and I'm going to probably, but I said this, and I believe this. If my wife was like, hey, I want to get a, what is it? What's the real wealthy women?
Range Rover?
Range Rover.
It's from Land Rover. Yeah.
If my wife was like, hey, I want to get a Range Rover, I'd be like, okay, let's go to therapy. Bro, I think
she'd look great in a Range Rover, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know the mindset of it's like if I wanted a Lambo or something. Like what's wrong with me?
Yeah, no, I could see if you're like, hey, Liz, I want a Lambo. She should be like, we should go to Couple Scouts.
Yeah, we should do something about your mental problem.
Yeah,
there's a problem. Like if your wife hits Southern California, and I'll say like the ladies, they want to be like the other ladies, and but it's messed up. Like, it's a weird brain thing, I think, to want that. I find it problematic.
The best thing is to be able to
This is Southern
buy
California.
any car you want and not buy it.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be.
Yeah.
Like I think no matter what you're doing, you should be, whether it's adopting a dog or whatever, you should be always thinking of like, what is the real reason? Have you seen this thing about like the 5 whys? Have you seen about this?
No.
It's like, it's essentially like why, like you could say, like, let's say the last topic of SeaWorld. So like what, so Joel, why did you work at SeaWorld?
Because I like animals.
Why do you like animals?
That goes like back to childhood.
I need an answer.
Oh, why do I like animals? I've just always connected with them when I was young. I would say when I was very young, I just had a passion for them. So is that an answer?
Yeah, yeah. Why do you think you had that connection or that passion? Was something missing?
I don't know. That I don't know.
But you see how you could go 5?
Yeah, and
5
you could just
whys,
go deep.
and it just goes like right to the heart of like, so you could do the same thing with the Range Rover. Why do you want a Range Rover? My friends have it.
Oh.
Like, you know, why do you want it? Because your friends have it, right?
Yeah. Then
and you start going down
right there.
and it gets you go, I want other people to think I'm rich and like powerful.
That's
then you go,
true.
well, okay, well now we know the reason why you want it, right?
I like that.
Yeah. It's called the 5 whys, I think.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Sorry to have to put you on the spot like that.
No, that's okay.
At least pressure.
No, the animal thing's fine. The Range Rover thing is, yeah.
I took you to your childhood and like 2 whys.
2 whys.
Which is probably true about almost everything.
Yeah.
Why do you do the things you do? Because that's how I've always done them, right? Because that's what my parents did.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth, you know? It's pretty funny. Oh, you got another comment? Sorry, I'm slacking.
No, I don't know why it doesn't just populate the comments.
5 Wives is deep as well. So other people know this, huh?
Is deep.
Oh, we know Trisha. Trisha, how are you? Good to see you.
We know Trisha.
Joel is speechless. Yeah, she's commented for like who knows how long. Yeah, crazy. Let's see.
All right, there's my friend I grew up with.
Really?
Joel
Desert
always,
Duck?
Yeah.
Is this for real?
That's one of my best friends.
No way.
He's just watching. Joel always liked animals and bugs and caught them. Oh yeah, I can tell you stories.
True?
For sure, dude. I just cruise him on my backyard and Joe can tell you that's Desert Duck right there.
You're like my son when we were
Joe could tell some stories.
We were in Molokai, and in the cabin we were at, there was no TV, there was no internet or anything like that. And so I'd take the small kids out and I was like, hey, look at that. That's a roly-poly. And they were like, what is this? And my son became obsessed with these roly-polies. He'd just go look for them and then he'd find them and you'd be like walking down the street. And he's just like, oh, there's a roly-poly. You're like, this is so that was like you, huh?
Yeah, but more interesting than that. So I'd take bees and I'd catch them, or wasps, because I like bees. It's like, don't hurt a bee. But I'd find wasp or yellow jackets in Oregon and I'd put them in the freezer. They slow down to where they're not dead, but they seem dead. And then I'd tie a string to its leg and then I would tape it down and then it defrosts and it wakes up and then you got a bee on a string.
So they don't die from it, though,
no,
right?
they just slow down enough. Yeah.
It's it's like being cryogenically frozen.
Yeah. And then you don't leave them in there.
It's like the Wesley Snipes movie. I
yeah, but they don't die. And then you have a bee on a string. And
I asked Desert Duck to tell us more. I want to know the dirt. So what's his first name? Can you tell us?
You're not going to... Joe.
Joe, okay. And he's from Oregon, I'd imagine.
I grew up with him.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, we were actually
his parents aren't watching this. His parents went away for a month, and we were 18 years old.
You
month.
Destroyed their house.
We partied like you would not ever believe. I mean, can you imagine at 17, parents going away for... No, the whole summer, I think they went away for. We just had a house.
You just trashed
Did that
it.
ever happen to you? Like at 17?
Yeah,
it's like the greatest day of your life.
It wasn't for a month, but like when
people go away for
like
weekends.
5 days or something. In 5 days, the house could be almost completely destroyed.
I mean, we would sit there and smoke in their house and just like, it was like the greatest. And we'd be in a house and we're drinking.
Think of how disrespectful that is. Like you'll go, like, I remember going to a party, like a kind of a kegger, you know, I'm like senior year, you know, and it's actually my friend's house. Right. And you walk in, there's 200 people in this 1,300 square foot house. They're just music blazing, and there's just people, they're just smoking, they're just putting their cigarettes out on the ground, like in this nice house.
I know.
Like there's no love. That, it's like you have to learn that the party should not be at your house.
Yeah.
Or at your parents' house.
Yeah,
That's not good. That's super funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's a small world. We were actually talking about this before the podcast because I haven't talked to Joel much in the last month-ish, maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit here, some work stuff. But one thing we were just chatting about how, like, the one downside of the podcast is that we can't say how we really feel, because every now and then people are like, oh yeah, I watch your podcast. And you're like, oh crap, I was about to talk crap about you.
Yeah.
And you listen to it.
Yeah. You like, it's tough.
So funny.
It's tough. You can't, I mean, I don't know.
That's too funny. Yeah. I mean, what a great time to be alive then and now. I mean, even just with, I don't like all the craziness that goes on, but sometimes you're like, this is fascinating time in history. Like,
yeah,
it's just, we are at the what do you call it? The breaking point? I don't know what it's called. Best summer ever. Okay.
See?
So Joe, we should have Joe on the podcast sometime. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
You should go interview him, like and I'll like coach him. I'll be like, just drop all the dirt you have about Joel.
There's a friend at our house right now, and he's like, he wasn't serious, but he's like, you should have me on the podcast. And like someone else said that too, like they want to be on the podcast. And I'm like, I don't know. It's like kind of a dog podcast,
It used to be at one point. I
At
mean,
some point
we've had a lot. I mean, we've had, a couple of our, I'd say fans. We've had the pet food, or the prepare your own pet food. We had Birdie DIY, right?
Yep.
We've had some people, but I think people being on the podcast once is different than being on the podcast 60 straight times. Not that I'm talking about myself.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
It is. We always talk. It's like, oh yeah, like I want a podcast like Joe Rogan, and you're like, I don't think you do. I don't think you want to talk to someone for 3 hours a day, 5 days a week.
I don't think you have
15 years.
I don't think you have the skills to have a podcast like Joe Rogan.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reason he did so well is because he decided to like follow his heart and just focus on things that he cared about. And that's where this podcast can get a bit sticky, because everyone wants to hear you solve 100 questions about dogs, but like you only have so much energy to be like, okay, let me just answer question after question after question about dogs, when you're kind of like, you want to talk about Trump getting shot in the ear,
Yeah. And then like, who's it for, right? Who's this podcast for? It's
for you, man.
Are there things? Yeah, that's what's got to be. Are there things we can say and can't say? And, do I want to have friends in a life outside of this, or do I want to, alienate everybody?
Bless
and like
PJ Child of God, by the way.
Yeah, it's a dog and life podcast. She's right.
She's absolutely right.
It's a parenting podcast as much as any.
I know you obviously have beat this to death, but the parallels between training and obviously doing all the kind of the back end stuff for the coaching stuff, coaching program, I'm like, watching all of these things, and I'm like, this is so parent related. It's unbelievable. And when a, you would say when an organism, right?
Yep.
Believes that there will be absolutely no consequences for whatever it does.
Yep.
The behavior tends to get pretty bad pretty quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I was talking on the BCP live yesterday, and I said, you are raising a helper dog, you guys. Like, this is not a normal dog situation. Prince's life and my relationship with him, it is not normal. Okay. And so I'm telling the people who want to be trainers, or are trainers, many of them are very good trainers. I'm like, it's not normal. You have to do this, this, and this. When you give a command, it has to be followed. And I found myself, it sounds so hardcore. Then I go, this is different than raising kids. Then I kind of pause and I go, it's actually not. And then I gave the example of my daughter that I talked about on the podcast. Like, she was somewhere, we talked about a few months ago. She was like over there at like a party, or I don't know where the heck we were. And there's a creeper dude over there. And I go,
Walmart, wasn't it? Or no,
but that was Walmart issue. Was
a different one. Okay.
But she was just whatever. And I go, hey, so-and-so, to my daughter, who's almost 15. I go, come here. And then she was like, and she kind of blew me off. No, like there is no, it's dangerous where you are. If I didn't need you to be by me, if I just wanted to tell you something, I would have come to you. When I say come here to my 15-year-old daughter, I mean come here. there is no room for no's. She has to trust that it's important when I say it,
Yeah.
or I would go to her, or I wouldn't ask it. But there is no no's when creeper dude, by 15-year-old daughter, I don't remember the situation. There is no no. So then I said that story. Then I go, actually, it's not much different. It's actually not. You're
Yeah.
going to love them. You're going to play with them. You're going to take them places. Or if it's your dog, you're going to exercise them and take them places. But like, it's not much different.
It's so amazing how, yeah, you definitely wouldn't ask them to do something if it's like the boy who cried wolf, right? Like you're not the dad who cried wolf. You don't just go, hey, come here, come here, come here, like 100,000 times.
Yeah.
It's like I ask you once every 18 months, like, hey, get over here, kind of like
Yeah.
there's a reason for it. I don't
Yeah.
do it every
Yeah.
day, right? If you did, I could see you kind of blowing me off.
Yeah.
What a great book or story, whatever, the boy who cried wolf. I thought about that the other day and I was like, there's so much to that story about how like
Yeah.
people basically, cry wolf and then eventually they need help and people are like, you can't listen to that
Yeah.
person. My
Yeah.
daughter was asking, my middle child was asking, like, why do you tell the truth? Right. She was asking why.
Mhm.
And I was trying to tell her without getting too philosophical, but I was like, if you tell the truth, everyone will believe what you say. And when everyone believes what you say, like people will trust you with a lot of stuff, right? And it's like we've talked about some of the bank executives where like Jamie Dimon, who, running a multi-trillion, like $3 trillion bank, that like he can just wave a wand and people will go, okay, let's do that. Because his trust, whether people like him or not, his trust is so high.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas if you're a habitual liar, people are going to be like, we won't trust you with 20 grand.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, it does make a difference. I don't know.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's funny how like rhymes, like Jordan Peterson was talking about the Beauty and the Beast, and that's like the perfect. I hesitate to say female fantasy. I don't know, but it's like taking the
Can't
rough,
say that on this
taking
podcast.
the guy who's dangerous and making him not. Like that's the
he's
whole
rugged,
thing.
unsocialized. He's like a wild animal, basically.
Yeah, that's
right?
Jordan Peterson's analysis. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's true. I don't understand enough. But like your nursery, like the crying wolf. Like you
Mhm.
can take all these fairy tales and there's like meaning behind them.
Oh yeah, no, it is incredible, and but I do think what's funny to me is like when you're a kid, you're so focused on yourself and in advancing yourself in different ways, and when you become older, you start to worry about your kids and you start to think about providing and protecting, right? And that's like to me what mostly dads are, right?
Yeah.
They provide for the family and they protect their family. And if you're not focused on those two things, if you have a family, like if you're focused on the Lamborghini, right? Like it doesn't solve one of those two main issues.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. Like being a dad to teenagers. Like at this point, it's changing to like preparing them for life, and that's not a thing. If they turn out to be prepared for life, it will in part be like them not like liking me in a way. Like they're not going to know it. Like they're going to reach a certain age and literally not know that I helped them do that.
But imagine like you went from being this kid partying at Joe's house, right? To like, how can I prepare these three kids for life?
Yeah.
That's a heck of a leap,
Yeah.
right? But it seems like it's focused. And I do like what Off Grid Dog says right here, that people with well-behaved kids have guess what kind of dogs.
Yeah.
Right. And people hate to hear it, but it seems to be quite true. I know you're gonna have to run soon. So any kind of genius words for the pod here?
No.
No?
I have no genius words at all.
If
but
there's
we do have
anything
to.
really amazing, I can tag in here as we say goodbye. I can't post that, Birdie. Come on. It's too much cussing going on here. Yeah, but it was good to get back. It's like that New Edition song. Feels so good to be back, or feels so good to be home. it is good to chat, and we don't get to do this thing normally.
Yeah,
so
not as much.
it is cool, but it was also good to get refreshed, focus on the programs, and also to get a time away with family. Turns out my family doesn't really care about the podcast, and I think yours doesn't really either.
Your daughter's probably watching right now.
Yeah, she actually does love it.
Yeah, she watches.
Yeah,
and contributes.
The wife is like, "Why are you doing this?"
Oh yeah,
that's what.
Yeah. We just like the people in here.
Hey, tell them to follow your TikTok. You start dropping stuff on TikTok, you're getting crazy.
Yeah,
views.
my last video had 1 million views.
Yeah, and the same video on YouTube did like what, 80,000 or something like that, maybe.
Oh yeah, 80,000 on YouTube, 1,000,002 on TikTok.
Crazy.
TikTok's crazy.
Yeah, it's taking over the.
TikTok is taking over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Start paying us, and I'll post more.
Absolutely.
TikTok. All right, guys, love you.
See you soon.
See you soon.